Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. Well, last night was something, wasn't it? The slap heard round the world. Silverlight doesn't normally bother with these sort of events, but having become aware of it, I've had time to digest it. First of all, let's look at the incident. In its TLDR form, comedian performing at the awards says something stupid, and the husband of the woman that he insults gets up and smacks him. Sounds pretty straightforward. But they like to hide things in plain sight. I've watched that video a couple of times, just enough to get a good idea of what's going on. Now, the joke, I don't know whether it crosses any boundaries. I don't think it's particularly appropriate. But is it worth slapping somebody over? No. My first question is, where was security in all of this? Like, you go to a standard comedy club, the bouncer's going to be there ready to jump you before you go on stage. Secondly, it's the Academy Awards. They've been doing this for, 100 years now? And, yeah, Chris Rock wasn't up there ad-libbing, saying things that came to the top of his head. He had a script-writing team. They were feeding him ideas. Somebody, somewhere in a room, approved that, quote, joke, end quote. And I don't know about you, but as somebody who's occasionally been a master of ceremonies and had to make some speeches, you get things approved ahead of time. So whatever the context this is, somehow somebody said yes. Now, normally in this situation, you would go to the person that you plan to offend and say, hey, this is a joke I got. This is what it means. Is that okay with you? So can we really believe that one of his primary targets was not asked if she was willing to consent to him performing that joke? It's very unlikely. So where is security? Where is the committee that's approving all of his jokes? And who is the person in charge of making it all come together? Now, this brings me to what I think is the most egregious thing of all. The actual slap. You might have seen it before. It's commonly used in wrestling. It's a very specific slap that's designed to look pretty impressive, but ultimately does no damage. So Will Smith and Chris Rock have both been in a number of action movies. Of anybody, they should know how to make a slap look more effective. But their acting just didn't back it up, which is strange for two stars with their pedigree. Let's look again at Will Smith's actions when he's coming up on stage. Obviously, he's annoyed, but he's not showing it until he gets up there, lays the smack on Chris, walks down, sits down, and then starts telling him not to talk about his wife. That's an odd order of events. Usually in the heat of the moment, in a crime of passion, which I think this would qualify as. Nobody got stabbed or hurt or killed, but definitely it was a heated moment. And he's walking like he's going to and from a queue. So what is it that we can look at through this entire chain of events that unifies them, that binds them, that makes them into a cohesive theory? Well, the answer's pretty simple. The Academy Awards the Oscars, the Grammys, all that sort of parties for rich people, as I like to call them. Rich people amuse themselves. They've been dropping in the ratings. They've been doing pretty crappy. And yeah, what's a good way to spice something up? Throw in a little bit of violence, throw in a little bit of controversy. And they managed to do that. Next year, people are going to be tuning in. Oh, I wonder if someone's going to get slapped. And no, they're not going to. It was like the nipple slip at the Super Bowl, however many years ago. Sure got ratings up the next year. Hollywood is just pulling the same trick over and over, and it's just simply to get you to put eyes on the target. Make you pay attention to a whole lot of people that really don't care about you other than you give them your money. It's ludicrous, it's ridiculous, and it's gotten way too much media attention. So, what can we do with this? Let's ignore it. Chris Rock was presented the opportunity to give Will Smith get Will Smith in trouble. The police were ready to lay charges, and he said no. That's because he was in on the act. Like I said, you can learn to take a punch pretty good. Now, I've looked it over. I'm not going to say there was no contact, but I'm going to say there was minimal contact. I mean, there wasn't even a bruise there. And Will Smith is a bigger guy. If he wanted to, he could have probably done a lot worse to Chris Rock. So what you're looking at is a very carefully crafted movie stunt to revive the fortunes of the Oscars for next year and for whatever other Grammy Awards they're given. Now, remember, this was a real incident. People are trying to hype it up. Oh, he's rich, he's powerful, that's why he's not getting arrested. No, he's not getting arrested because it fits in with their grand plan. And that grand plan is to keep you sitting in front of when watching, while honestly one of the least interesting events of the year possible is played out in front of you. I never understood these award ceremonies. Like, yes, if you're in the industry, if you were in a local play and your local group was handing out awards, yes, that is something very near and dear to you and probably your family too. But I mean, these awards are literally shiny things being given from one person to another. Am I standing with anybody? No. I condemn violence, but at the same token, I just can't bring myself to say this was real. Chris Rock took it a little too well. It looked exactly like a good stunt. Will Smith, it's like he turned on, turned off, turned on, turned off. I've seen other analysis, like The Critical Drinker, for example, shout out to him, where Will Smith is sitting there smiling at the joke, then gets up as if he was on cue, and then goes through his whole routine, sits down, and he's sitting comfortable before he starts shouting to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. It's a peculiar situation, but not so when you realize how terrible their ratings have been. There have been a lot of reasons for that. 2020 and 2021 were horrible years for cinema. Just disgusting. And to be honest, they haven't really given us many compelling stars because so few releases have been coming out. All that being said, I don't think 2022 is hitting all that well either. Could be wrong, maybe there's a future star being born, but we're all lamenting this stupidity that happened by a man who a couple minutes later was up accepting the award for Best Actor. If you're at your local theater and you did the exact same thing, you're not getting the award for Best Actor, even though all that is set up ahead of time. You're going to be in the back explaining to some very big, beefy security guards why you won't be, or why you're going to need a lawyer before the police show up. Anyways, this incident is so fabricated and so made up. I'm tired of seeing it on my Facebook feed, and my Twitter feed, and my Instagram feed, etc. So I just had to come out and say, if it's not fake, it's very suspicious. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please hit like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to get the merchandise, which are the books listed in the link down below. And we hope you have a fantastic day.